Hello, and welcome to the Unisys ClearPath OS 2200 Release 17.0 Technical Update presentation for Apex 3.0 Introduction to the Database Web Pages. In this video, you will be introduced to the new database web pages that are now part of Apex 3.0. These pages allow you to view the objects residing in your database, view the attributes and properties of the UDS active configuration, and view software levels of the database products. At the end of this video, we will walk through a couple of use cases encountered by a database administrator and/or a database user. This is the first release for the database web pages, and they do not yet provide a complete representation of the database. Instead, the primary focus of this first release was to provide a view of the physical structure of the database that common off-the-shelf tools like DB Visualizer and Eclipse Data Explorer fail to show, and to give access to information that is very difficult to find within the database. The logical view of the database is incomplete for this first release. We recommend that you use Apex 3.0 in conjunction with a common off-the-shelf tool like DB Visualizer or Eclipse Data Explorer to gain a complete picture of the database. After logging into Apex, you are taken to the Apex homepage. From here, you can navigate to the database homepage by either clicking the Database tab or by clicking the database entry in the navigation menu at the top of the screen. Additionally, you can navigate directly to the database web pages by clicking one of the entries belonging to the database group. Clicking on the Database tab will navigate to the database homepage. On the database homepage is a description of each of the database web pages next to a tab that, when clicked, navigate to the page. The Active Configuration page displays the attributes and properties of the UDS active configuration. The Object Viewer page shows the objects that comprise your database and displays the attributes and properties of schema, storage area, and table objects. The Product Information page displays the installed software levels for the RDMS and RSA database products. Once navigated to a database web page, the first step is to connect to an application group. In order to connect to an application group, you must have a database agent installed and running on the system for the application you wish to connect to. There are two ways to connect to an application group. The first is to type the name of the application group into the text box on the upper left corner of the page. You must type in the application group name. Aliases are not accepted. Application group names are 1 to 6 alphanumeric characters. Once entered, hit Enter or click Open. Alternatively, if you do not know which application group you would like to connect to, then leave the text box blank and hit Enter or click Open. This will bring up a selection dialog with a list of all the application groups that can be connected to. These are the application groups that have a database agent installed and running. Application groups not listed either do not have UREP installed, do not have a database agent installed, or have a database agent installed but do not have the database agent running. After making a selection from the list, hit Enter or click Open. The application group you are connected to is displayed as part of the page title. Upon selection of an application group, the information is retrieved from the database and displayed on the web page. The time the information was retrieved is displayed in the upper right corner of the page, and once the information is retrieved, the options to print and export the information are enabled. Printing the information opens up a new tab with the information now displayed in print format. Next, you would hit the Print button in the upper right corner, select your printer, and click Print. Clicking Export exports your data in comma-separated value format. Then you can choose to either open or save the file. Clicking Open opens the file with the default program for reading a .csv file, which most likely will be Excel. To refresh the information displayed on the web page and retrieve it from the database, you can either connect to the same application group again, in this case it would be App9, or you can navigate to this web page again from either the database homepage or through the database drop-down in the navigation menu at the top of the page. Clicking on Active Configuration will get the information again from the database, which is reflected in an updated timestamp. Once a connection to an application group is made, it is saved in a session variable so that when navigating to a different database web page, the application group will already be pre-selected and the information will automatically be retrieved from the database. Navigating to the Object Viewer page, the page is already initialized and the connection to the same application group, App9, is made. For the Object Viewer page, the option to print and export the data does not become available until a selection is made from the object tree. For example, selecting Schema Farm, the information is displayed, the print and export buttons are enabled, and the time the information was retrieved from the database is now displayed. The Database Page Object Viewer allows you to view the structure of your database via the object tree on the left-hand side of the page, and view attributes and properties of certain objects via the Object Record Viewer on the right-hand side of the page. A database object can either be a schema, storage area, table, view, trigger, routine, column, index, constraint, or parameter. A routine refers to both functions and stored procedures. The object tree is initialized once connected to an application group. It is initially populated with all of the schemas defined in the database. The Object Record Viewer is still blank because no selection has been made from the object tree yet. In addition, this means that the print and export buttons are still disabled and no timestamp is displayed indicating when the information is retrieved from the database. Making a selection from the object tree, for example, Schema Farm, the information is now populated in the Object Record Viewer, the print and export buttons are enabled, and a timestamp showing when the information was retrieved from the database is now visible. Each object in the object tree has the ability to be expanded and selected. The objects that can be expanded are those that have other objects defined within them. You can tell which objects can be expanded if they have the expand icon to the left of their name. For this release, only RDMS schemas are further populated in the object tree. One object that can be expanded are schemas if they have a storage area, table, view, trigger, or routine defined within them. Expanding schema RDMS shows that it has storage areas and tables defined within it. To see the names of the storage areas and tables, expand the title name. Another object in the object tree that can be expanded is a table object. Expanding a table will show the columns and, if defined, the indexes and constraints. Again, to view the names of the objects, click the expand icon next to the title name. The other object that can be expanded is a routine object if it has parameters within its definition. Objects that can be selected from the object tree have a solid blue background color and when scrolled over become highlighted. Objects that are not selectable have a shaded gray background and are not highlighted when scrolled over. For this release, only schema objects, storage area objects, and table objects are selectable. When you select an object from the object tree, its information is displayed and its background color becomes white. For a schema object selected from the object tree, its owner and the time it was created are displayed in the Object Record Viewer. If this is an unowned schema, no owner name is displayed in the field. A storage area object is defined with one or more versions. When a storage area object is selected from the object tree, its versions are displayed as tabs across the top of the Object Record Viewer. Each tab displays the information pertaining to that version of the storage area. This information includes the time the storage area was processed, the time the storage area was created, general attributes, and any tables, indexes, or blob columns that are stored within the storage area. For the different versions of the storage area, the tables, indexes, and blob columns stored within each version of the storage area will be the same. The process time, create time, and the general attributes may vary from version to version. For example, version RDM test has a different process timestamp and create timestamp than version production, along with a different file name. For a table object selected from the object tree, its information is divided over 2 or 3 tabs in the Object Record Viewer. The General tab displays the time the table was processed, the table type, the storage areas used to store the table's records, and, if the table is partitioned, the partitions of the table along with their associated indexes. The table type can be permanent or temporary, and partitioned or non-partitioned. The Relational Description Table tab shows the attributes of the table's RDT. The third tab, Referenced In, is visible when the table is referenced by a program, trigger, or routine. Each program, trigger, and routine that references the table is listed under this tab. A program refers to a C or COBOL program that references the table. This information is populated in UREP when the program is compiled with the UREP XREF keyword option specified. More information on this topic can be found by searching for the keyword option UREP XREF in the Application Development Solutions C Compiler Programming Reference Manual, Volume 2, Compiler and System Interface Document, and/or the Application Development Solutions COBOL Compiler Programming Reference Manual, Volume 2, Compiler and System Interface Document. The database page Active Configuration displays the information of the UDS active configuration of the selected application group. When updating the active configuration, the changes are not reflected until the application group becomes idle. This page shows the configuration that is currently loaded on the application group. This information is divided into 6 tabs across the top of the page. The General tab displays the general attributes of the active configuration. The Bank Information tab displays the attributes and information of the various banks configured for the application group. These include the Data Control System, the Encryption Bank, if configured, which for this application is not, the Thread Bank, and the Page Bank. The Page Banks tab gives a summary of the attributes for each page bank that is configured on the application group. The Dedicated Entries tab displays a summary of each dedicated entry configured on the application group. The Retention Files tab gives a summary of each retention file configured on the application group. The Logical Data Manager tab displays the attributes of the Relational LDM and, if configured, the DMS LDM. On the Product Information page, you can view the installed software level for the RSA and RDMS database products. The Apex Software Programs page can provide you with additional information about the installation of the RDMS product, including any updates that have been installed. When a storage area is in error, one possible problem is the storage area file has been recatalogued, but the storage area has not been reprocessed. In this scenario, the process time of the storage area will be older than the time the storage area was cataloged. To verify if this is the case without Apex 3.0, requires remembering command syntax, remembering program names, and if analyzing the default version of the storage area, you would need to know if the default version is represented in the database as production or as a single space character. First, you would need to find the process timestamp for the storage area via access to the RDMS catalog. This requires knowing the command to start the RSA driver, the view in the RDMS catalog needed to access the information, and the syntax of the SQL statement used to access the information. Then, you would need to write down the timestamp or use a different window going forward. Next, you would need to find the name of the file that is used by the storage area. For this, you would need to know the command to start the UREP processor, and you would need to know the syntax of the UREP command used to view the properties of the storage area. Then you would need to find both the qualifier and file name attributes of the storage area as they are separate in the UREP report. Next, you would need to find the catalog time of this file. For this, you would need to remember the command to view the file properties. Finally, you would need to compare these two timestamps. To verify if this is the problem using Apex 3.0, first, navigate to the database page object viewer. Then, connect to the application group where the storage area in question is defined. Next, select the storage area from the object tree. For this example, we will use storage area, RDMS, farm file. Now, in the object record viewer, the time the storage area was processed and the file name of the storage area is displayed. Next, print this information in order to save it in a new tab to be referenced later. Then, copy the file name, navigate to the Security Files page, paste the file name into the text box, and click Open. Then, underneath the Cycles tab, you will find the time the file was cataloged. Now, compare the time the file was cataloged with the time the storage area was processed. Comparing these two, we see the time the storage area file was cataloged was a second before the storage area was processed. Therefore, for this example, we do not have the problem where the file of the storage area was cataloged after the storage area was processed. With Apex 3.0, the process timestamp of the storage area and the file name used by the storage area are accessed with the same task instead of separate ones, are displayed near each other on the same screen. The file name is shown in full instead of in two separate parts. There is no need to remember calls for programs, no need to remember the view in the RDMS catalog that is used to access the information, and no need to remember the syntax of UREP commands and SQL statements. All kanji characters found in the database can be viewed on the Apex database web pages. On the system, as part of the database for application group UDS SRC, schema SCH3 has a kanji table defined. Expanding this table, we can view the column names, which are also kanji characters. Now, we can select the kanji table to view its properties. Printing this information displays the kanji, along with exporting this information. Thank you for watching this presentation introducing the database web pages for Apex 3.0 as part of the Unisys ClearPath OS 2200 17.0 release. In it, we covered how to connect to an application group, when information is retrieved from the database, and what information is displayed on each database web page. On the Object Viewer page, you can view the structure of the database and the properties and attributes of individual schema, storage area, and table objects. On the Active Configuration page, you can view the attributes and properties of the UDS active configuration. On the product information page, you can view the installed software levels for the RDMS and RSA database products.